What's up, Savvy Expats? So today we have a special interview because I am with one of my clients hailing all the way from Seattle. Anthony, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
This has been awesome. I'm glad to finally be here.
Yeah, I mean, it was like we were on call, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
We were on call. You're telling me about how you want to move out to the Philippines with your family,
Yeah.
down to Cebu. And then all of a sudden now we're here together in BGC, sitting in this beautiful Sky Lounge in Shangri-La.
Yeah, and I
So-
put a little pressure on you too because I had kind of an accelerated timeline. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't a slow process as most people probably make that transition. I think I was very deliberate. I wanted to get here, and you made it happen.
Yeah, well, I love the urgency. You went through an excruciating, 21-hour flight, was it?
Yeah, 21-hour flights. 21-hour flights. The longest leg was 16 hours long. It was the one from San Francisco to Singapore.
Wow.
And it was such a troll because it passed over Manila to get there.
So you could have actually gotten here sooner.
Yeah. So I had to fly an extra 3 hours past Manila, and then I took another flight 3 hours back.
That's hilarious. No
But
way.
that flight was nice. Singapore Airlines are
Yeah.
great airlines.
So you're heading down to Cebu in a couple days, right?
Yep.
But your stopover is here in BGC just to kind of settle in for a bit. Okay, so how are you liking BGC so far?
I've seen videos before about BGC, and it looks exactly what they say. It's like a foreigner's haven, you know.
Right.
It is like they say, it's like a walled garden, but it
Yep.
is very peaceful. It's but lively at the same time. And really enjoy and I haven't really explored yet, so I still want to go out there and check out the rest of it.
Yeah,
But I feel like I had to do that before I go to Cebu at least once.
Absolutely. Now, so you can kind of compare and contrast the two cities. As like you said, you mentioned to me earlier that Cebu would probably be more your taste
Yeah.
because it's more like a Philippine mixed environment where you still get Western amenities.
Yeah.
Whereas like I think BGC, we can both agree it's a bubble for sure.
I don't think I mentioned this to you before, but like I was looking for something that reminded me of Okinawa, Japan, you know, and had this island feel, but still had that Japanese culture and say a little bit of their American modernness as well. And I feel like Cebu hit all the boxes for me.
You get the best of both worlds down there in Cebu, but switching gears a little bit more, I mean, we want to know about you, Anthony. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, so I'm from the U.S. I was in the Marine Corps for a few years, and then I transitioned to a software engineer at Microsoft, and I did that for a few years. I don't know, you get this moment, you see your life pass by, and you're like, what do I do next? I feel like I've done everything I've ever wanted to do professionally. And I didn't want to be one of those people that are like 65 years old and start to live their lives.
Right.
And I heard these people that were moving overseas in their 40s, taking advantage of beautiful locales, great cost of living, great communities, and it really called to me, and it really reminded me of my life in the military, living overseas. So it felt comfortable.
Right. Gotcha. And so when you were out in the U.S., you're living in Seattle, you said, is that right?
Yeah, Seattle, the big gray.
So I mean, I can imagine. So you're working in Microsoft, living in Seattle. What did life feel like back then, back in the U.S.?
Microsoft is the biggest company in the world for a reason. You know, you work really hard. You would go into the office before the sun came up, and I would leave the office when the sun was already gone. So like I really saw the gray.
Yeah. Let alone the fact that Seattle barely has any sun to begin with. So,
Exactly. It's the only place where they issue vitamin D on arrival.
Right. So I can imagine, like, mood-wise, it wasn't always the best.
Yeah, it's just very much a place you go for work. That's what it feels like. And there's so many opportunities. Like a lot of corporations are there. Like Amazon's headquartered there, Boeing, including Microsoft. And so it's a great place for professionals to build their career.
Right.
But as far as a family life or a personal life, there are obviously better places to be.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think that living in the U.S., it comes with good pay, of course, but at the expense of your relationships. And we see that we've seen that a lot with the U.S. Surgeon General saying that there's an epidemic of loneliness in the U.S.
Yes.
So people are constantly trying to keep up with their bills. They have no time to spend with their family. But my next question, Anthony, is what made you want to move out to the Philippines specifically?
When I was in the military and I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan, it was really close, and I would visit for MWR trips to go snorkeling and go surfing, and I loved it. It was the only place where I remember going, and the water was crystal clear, and when you stepped in it, the water was actually warm. Like, it just made like the experience of being in the Philippines just amazing. Like, it felt like a magical place.
Right.
And on top of incredible people, incredible culture, it can't beat it.
The people, the culture, the weather here, I think that's why so many expats want to move out here to the Philippines. And I think you're one of the rare few of younger expats that's moving out here. Was there any reason like you chose Philippines over other Southeast Asian countries?
Well, one thing is I have 2 children with me, and I don't want to shock my children too much on their first trip overseas. And the Philippines offered a combination of, English-speaking culture, American-esque areas, in addition to, all the paradise-like elements. So I thought my children would have the best time adjusting here versus maybe like Thailand, for example,
Right.
where it's obviously just as great. But I just felt this was just a little bit better in terms of comfort for my kids.
Absolutely. So I'm really curious, like, you're living in the States your whole life, your children grew up born and raised in the States as well. What was it like for them when you broke the news that they're going to come up to the Philippines?
I mean, there's definitely mixed feelings, right? They're young, so they're more adventurous, I think.
Okay.
So they're very excited to be here. Then I would not have brought them here if they did not genuinely want to come to the Philippines, and
Right.
they absolutely do. I brought them into the journey of choosing where we wanted to go. All I knew is I wanted to go explore my life. I wanted to take the opportunity, the rare, like, specific opportunity for myself that I could actually go and live overseas. That has not always been the case. So I wanted to take that opportunity, and I made sure my kids were involved in the process of choosing where we wanted to go. That helped because they were invested in the decision of where to go, and it's easier for them to be more excited about it.
Right. I think most people, when you tell them that they're going to move out to the Philippines, they question like, oh, but it's a third world country. There's all these perceptions about the Philippines coming from the West, but I'm sure that when your kids came out here, I mean, they're enjoying it, they like it. You're also going to enroll them into certain activities in Cebu, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We found a great international school, and that's going to be great because they'll be able to play with kids that are from different countries as well.
Right.
And from what I hear, the locals also enroll their kids there as well. So that'll be great, a great international experience. Additionally, because of the cost of living advantages here, I can send my daughter to painting school, and I actually want to participate in that with her. So get the opportunity to do things with my kids and also give them the experiences that spark their interests.
Right.
And Seattle, it's just the cost of living there is just not going to allow me to give them as many opportunities as I would want.
That's definitely one of the bigger advantages to coming out here to the Philippines is because your expenses are so much lower, you can try so many different things out here.
Yeah.
I mean, rent is barely like $800. Whereas in the States, I mean, I'm sure in Seattle it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at our high point when we were living in West Seattle, that was $4,000 a month just in rent.
No kidding.
And then we moved to Tacoma when COVID happened, and we could work from home. So we found a place for like $2,600 in Tacoma. But my current place, a 2-bedroom, high-rise apartment. I think we're on the 20th floor, and it's about $850 a month.
$850 in Cebu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's still the high end of Cebu too.
Right.
Because like there's plenty of great options around $500 a month or even less. But I think not being a native here, not really having been here yet, I felt Cebu was a great first choice. But like, yeah, I see why people go to Dumaguete. It looks beautiful, but I don't think that would be the place I start.
Absolutely.
Start at Cebu where it has more infrastructure. And then when I get comfortable, or at least I learn how comfortable I can become, then I can start making those decisions.
Completely. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of striking to me that you go from paying $4,000 for rent, then you move over to the Philippines, higher end city, and you're paying $850 for
Yes.
rent. That's pretty insane. And I think that's why so many expats find a big appeal with the
Yeah.
Philippines. You could save so much more here. But that actually brings me to my next question. As far as like financially speaking, what's supporting your lifestyle here?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's why my experience is very unique because working at Microsoft, I was earning like 12,000 a month, and it did not feel like a lot of money because in that area everything is so expensive. Everything just felt like it was going straight out. Here, I live off my military pension of just 2,600, and in Cebu, 2,600 is far more than you need in order to survive, even with a family.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
I know I'm a very fortunate person to be able to do something like this. And if I decide later on like that retirement really isn't for me, I can go back to work. Digital nomading is just growing, and more people are participating in it. And as everything goes online, remote work is just so much easier as well. So
Absolutely.
I have that option open to me.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, I receive a lot of comments about, Evan, why would I move to the Philippines, or how would I move to the Philippines if living in the States, I'm making good money, but I come out to the Philippines and I'm going to take a huge cut to my income, a huge hit to my
Yeah.
income, and it's still possible to make the move out here. Well, for one, the expenses are still lower. So
Yeah.
even if you're taking a hit to your income, your expenses are going to be lower as well.
Yeah.
And your lifestyle is going to be more free. And the second thing is, there's always work to be done online. It's
Yeah.
so flexible these days. So you can also, like you mentioned, go to resort to doing digital nomad work. I don't see any constrictions or restrictions as there would be in the past with making a move abroad due to work reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony, in the early stages of planning out your move to the Philippines, what would you say were some of the bottlenecks or concerns that you had?
Thinking about a move like that, there's going to be so many things to worry about, as far as where do you stay, and even trying to find, like you would see Facebook ads and then you would realize those photos are not actually of the unit, they're of some other unit. And like there's little complications like that. So it just makes sense to have somebody on the ground that's familiar with that area that can direct you to help you. And so I thought your service was like exactly what I needed, And I feel like coming from the military, we had services like that, transportation and assistance services, and even at Microsoft, they had a whole relocation specialist that helped us relocate for Microsoft. And I guess I've been kind of spoiled, and I was looking for that kind of treatment as well, and you offered that, so it was pretty easy, and it was great because I didn't have to worry. There was no more stress about,
Completely.
am I going to get scammed by this apartment? Like, do I put down a lot of deposit on an apartment and it turns out not to be the place that is actually advertised?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the last thing that an expat would want when moving to a completely new country halfway across the world is to waste time, money, and effort because they didn't have the right connections and they didn't have the know-how or how to even navigate themselves. Well, I've actually seen a lot of expats that have wasted a lot of that time, money, and effort because they wanted to go about doing it themselves, when you could just go with the proper guidance and then get situated smoothly with your transition. And
Yeah.
would you say that it made your life easier?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
There's no price tag you can put on the confidence in traveling and knowing that everything is taken care of.
100%.
And because I know I've traveled and had massive amounts of anxiety on the travel, after trying to settle in. And so, yeah, you can't put a price on peace of mind.
100%.
Yeah.
So moving forward, Anthony, I mean, you're going to be going down to Cebu for quite some time now, and
Yeah.
it's going to be like the retired lifestyle down there. So, yeah, what's your plans going forward?
Before the military, before Microsoft, I always wanted to be a filmmaker. I really thought that was the direction my life would go. But, it doesn't always work out the way you think it's going to. However, now I see myself as having a second life, a second opportunity to go back and pursue the things that I'm really passionate about. And I'm not going to take that lightly.
Right.
So, step one is just getting back and developing those skills, getting used to using a camera again. And there's so many changes, so many new technologies, so many new ways of doing things in the film industry. And now you have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have all these new opportunities as well. So I want to take advantage of all of these options.
So now it's like you're taking your life into your hands and doing exactly what you want to do.
Yes.
And I think part of that reason is because of living in the Philippines affords you that freedom.
Yeah.
So that's amazing, man. I mean, it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank
And
you.
It's great to see you again. Like
Yeah.
I'm in shock how fast time blew by.
Yeah.
Seeing you on call to now being here in person. But anyways, Savvy Expats, if you enjoy this video, feel free to give it a like, subscribe, and if you are looking to move to the Philippines within the next 1 to 3 months and you need the whole A to Z logistics taken care of for you, like Anthony here, the link is in the description for that. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. God bless.